Welcome back to the Pulp Culture Plus, your bonus hit of one-on-one deep dives and creative talent from Australia and around the world. A show where we unpack the process and the passion and everything in between about creativity. Today we're joined by Australian artist Lauren Marshall, who's known for her expressive, character-driven style. She's worked across indie titles and anthologies, is a regular cover artist for The Phantom, and has successfully brought her own projects to life through Kickstarter. Lauren's the host of her own podcast, Sketch Biz, on YouTube, where she deep dives into the art and the creative process. Please welcome Lauren to the show.
Hello. How you doing?
Hey, great to be chatting with you. It's amazing that we actually are chatting. Our people talk to your people, and our people weren't talking to your people, and vice versa. And it just wasn't working for us over the last couple of weeks. But we've managed to find a very
brain rot. The brain rot that I've been dealing with in terms of the chaos of my life. Like, you're talking about my person. That person is like this little nugget that's just been left alone for too long and doesn't know what to do anymore behind the wheel.
The stars just weren't aligning, were they, for us? And but that's okay. We're here now. We've got a short window, and we're going to take it.
Let's go.
All right. So I gave you a bit of a spiel at the start there. Have I missed anything, first of all?
No, I think you're hyping me up too much. I'm kind of like one of those people that really struggles with. I know I've done stuff, but I'm like, man, like it's all right, I guess. Like, I don't know whether they, stems from childhood issues, as everybody else kind of deals with when they're a millennial. But no, I don't think so. Other than writing for the first time, which has been really interesting. And I think you nailed it.
Maybe tell us a little bit about that writing process. Is this something that you're doing yourself, or is this for something else that you can't tell us about, or a bit of both?
No, I've released the prologue of my title called Thalison, which is something that I've created that is, think of it as every little Easter egg from my childhood and what I loved growing up, and kind of why I got into this industry, the creative industry itself. So gaming or animation or style, all these kind of things that I wanted to put together. And I've always really loved like bloody, gory kind of bits and pieces, but something that's really driven by story and layers, like really deep layers and good twists and turns. So, I kind of tried it with Lana when I first dabbled with doing indie publishing. And look, I'm not mad about Lana. It just wasn't the level and the depth that I wanted to go with. So I'm not going to say goodbye to her, but I'm going to just pop her on the shelf, let her gather some dust for a while, because I know that I probably wasn't quite at the level that I needed to be able to develop that to the point that I needed artistically and story-driven wise. So given time and doing different jobs and figuring out things for myself, I decided to do something that was a little bit more fully based on me. So I'm doing the writing, I'm doing the drawing, I'm doing the coloring, I'm doing the lettering. So I'm kind of doing like this full package thing. The only thing that I'm not doing, which I'm grateful for, is the editing, because I know I'm really bad at, grammar and punctuation and all that kind of stuff. So old mate Spezzy is going to be helping me out with that, which is amazing. Nice. Because he's a gentle feedback, but still quite, well, I don't know if gentle, like maybe just like a direct but gentle. Is that the best way to say it? He's very good. It makes sense to me, and it's there's no fluff. So, and that's how I've always liked to work. That's awesome. This title's like just chaos within a book, and it's a graphic novel. It's going to be roughly 120 pages. Nice big chunky boy. open-ended, so whether I do a second one or not, but it's kind of something that I just needed to do for myself. But the writing's been really fun. Like, I'm
Mm,
really good with coming up with these like overarching stories and all these twists and turns, and how stuff sort of like merge together. And then while I'm writing up, I'll be like, oh my god, this could totally work. And then I'll do the research in terms of how it, because it is kind of like Greek mythology lightly. And so I get really excited with that. It's the breaking it down, doing the beats, making
mm.
sure that the dialogue works well and it's not just too much, just like to not be exciting for the reader. Like, that's the kind of stuff that I don't struggle with, but it's not as exciting for me. But I guess when you read it back, and I'm only on the last chapter, I've only got the last chapter to kind of figure out. I've done half of it, but probably kind of change a little bit in time. But reading back through the chapters, it's actually quite nice to see that my development in terms of that area that I've never been really confident in has been nice, really nice.
That makes sense. With you now, obviously, you're sort of taking on all parts of the comic. What what's something when does that page or piece sort of click for you? Is it the sketch? Is it the inks? Is it the final part of the story? Is it the lettering? What is it that when you look at the page, you go, "Yep, that's it. I'm moving on to the next part."
I'm trying not to put myself inside of a box. So the idea of me sharing that prologue online and on socials, and you look, the lettering and the script has completely changed for that prologue as of now, and I will re-release it again. But the idea is for me to put it out into the world and say, like, hey, I want you part of this project, and learn that like doing comics and writing and self-publishing is not really a straightforward sort of job, right? And I want people to be involved, emotionally invested, to see how things sort of chop and change and mold. And that idea, I'm wondering if that's going to help me in terms of people being on board to see that it's come to fruition. And
Yep.
so, will that transfer into signups and Kickstarter stuff? Like, that's my question for
Mm.
that.
Yeah, interesting. With regards to you talk about your process. What's that's something that that would surprise people, like a weird habit or a shortcut or a rule that you would swear by?
I've kind of adapted. I don't know who I heard it from, but I kind of adapted it from another podcast I read, because so I don't work a second job. I'm so grateful and thankful that I am privileged to be able to work on my art full time. I'll say that in commas, uh, in between juggling other things. But I like listen to a lot of different ideas and um, workflows from different podcasts and stuff like that. And someone said they don't limit themselves to a structure. So
Mm,
if one day that I wake up and my drawing's on fire, I'm going to harness that and I'm going to draw. If another day my writing's on fire, I'm going to go with that. And I take that with a grain of salt, because deadlines don't always really merge with that quite well.
yeah.
So if I've got the capacity to be able to follow whatever's feeling quite natural for the day, then I will definitely go with that, because that's when the magic sort of happens. But yeah, no, I don't. I try not to follow too much of a strict rule. The only thing that I kind of follow is that the days that I don't have hands on deck for my daughter, I am basically just hands on deck for drawing. So that those are my days, and I treat them like days. So I'll take her to daycare or whatever, and then I'll wake up. Oh, sorry, I'll drop her off, and then I'm in work mode. So I'll even go, wash my face. I'll do my hair. I'll put on a different change of clothes to try and get myself in that mind frame, and then give myself a little 15 minutes lunch break. Like, I try and treat it just like a day. That's the only real
Hmm.
structure that I have. But in terms of like the actual creative workflow, I try not to like bug it down with too much, like, you need to do this, you need to do that. It kind of feels like it just destroys the natural progression of it all.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You once upon a time shared a studio with John Samariva and David Yarden. Is that correct?
Mm. And pitchy too. Very, very
Oh,
lucky.
as well. Right. Okay. So, right. So, sorry to
I know. I
exclude
was like
myself.
this little like naive person in this like a bullpen. Oh my god! Like I was not ready for that, but I learned so much. It was amazing.
Well, give us a glimpse of that, because you've got four really creative people with very different styles and talents and senses of humor as well.
Mm.
What does that kind of look like, and what did you learn from that experience?
A lot. I did learn a lot. I actually moved to Sydney in the hopes of, breaking it big. And like, I always thought like the biggest city was going to make and break it, but that's absolutely not the thing. Like, don't even bother with that. The internet's an amazing thing. Stay at home with your family. Unless you really want to go to the city, that's totally fine too. But honestly,
Yeah.
you don't need to make the move to be able to make it work. But I think Dave had put out like a little call being like, hey, would you kind of thinking of like filling a spot in our studio? Someone like wants some mentoring or whatever. And that was sort of like the first or second week that I moved to Sydney. And I was like, oh, the stars are aligning. It's all happening for me. Like, da, da, da. Like I was like young 20s, like what an idiot. But I was so excited. Like I just like messaged him straight. I'm like, I'm so keen because I had been following John's work for quite a while. Um, because I'm sure that others and yourself would be able to tell I do, resonate with his work, and I do like that sort of
Mm.
angular, sharp sort of graffiti kind of look of work. And yeah, we met up in the studio, we hung out and we drew, and then the idea was kind of like to have someone on board to be able to, for them to mentor and pass on their guidance. And I learned a lot from them in terms of how they work and how determined they are and how much grinding they were doing. Like this was before John was doing the
Mm.
Ninja Turtles even.
Mm.
I'm pretty sure he was
Mm.
kind of like dabbling in it at the time. But yeah, it was really cool. And like the best thing for me was seeing how determined and driven that Pitchy was, because he was really just like going hard on his self-title that he was trying to do, and to see his work, published, and
Mm.
he's doing the sequentials, he's doing the covers. It's
Mm.
incredible to see someone that you saw someone just like sweating over their desk and putting in their heart and their soul into it, and then having his mates just really like pushing him forward to do that. It was really cool. And I still think about some of the information and the tidbits that they gave me in terms of how to
Mm.
think about your work. I think I've said this on other podcasts or even my one before, when John mentioned to me, like, when you're struggling to draw and you can see it, you're like, I can see I'm doing it wrong. It's like,
Mm.
that's just because you're leveling up and your
Mm.
skills haven't quite caught up. So you shouldn't be mad about that. You should never be
Mm.
mad about that, because
Mm.
it means that you've made progression. You just got to catch up a little bit, and you just got to have patience, enjoy that development and that drawing and that skill set that you got to learn. So that really changed my mind frame, and I was so not ready to be in that studio, and I know that now, but I
Mm.
still remember a lot of the stuff and implement a lot of the stuff that they taught me, especially
Mm.
like anatomy from David. Like that guy just pulls out, I don't know,
Yeah.
scientific names for, I don't know, your delts or something. It was incredible watching him just, do what he does. And yeah, unfortunately, the studio had to be, we had to break free because the fellow who owned it wanted it back, and we couldn't find another
Mm.
space. So that was totally fine. And I was feeling homesick. I was still too young, and I just needed to go back home. So
Mm.
forever grateful for all the bits they taught me. I don't know if they actually know fully how much I do appreciate it, but yeah, they were
Mm.
huge, huge impacts on my style and my career.
No, that's amazing. And I mean, you're sitting with peers that are, and I'm sure that there are, areas and times that you probably supported them and helped them with their process as well. Probably don't think so, but
Mm,
creativity helps to inspire all those that are around, not just one person that may be at a lower tier than the others are, right? So
mm,
I think that's fantastic, and I mean, obviously it's not for everybody, and not everybody's going to do that to get where they are. But I think, like you said, the internet is a wonderful place, and when you're talking about that time in the studio, we're talking about when the internet was was in a very sort of infant stage when it came to the creative process. I think the biggest sort of platform that anybody could be sort of recognised was on DeviantArt back in the day,
Yeah.
which is pretty much where John and myself and you and David and Tom Taylor and all these other people that were sort of had this creative space where we could sort of be with our peers and chat and talk and share our examples with. And I think that that's come a long way now for creatives where they can publish their work online. It's available for you can do digital art now and be able to publish it at a relatively cheap price and get it out to
And
the masses.
fast. So
And
fast. I can't keep up.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, back in the day, you weren't able to do that. And I think, as
No.
I've been interviewing others about the creative process, that has been very evident that the digital age has really made a difference for the creative process. And like you say, fast. When we're talking about projects, has there been a project that just didn't work out? And what did you learn from that?
I don't know if that didn't work out. Maybe ones that I wasn't so enthused about. I mean, I always try to do my absolute best for any project that's gone with previous jobs and stuff. Like I always put my best foot forward because I have this mindset of don't burn bridges. Like even if it's not working with the person or whatever, don't burn bridges. Like that's not my thing because you don't know when it's going to come full circle and come back to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything that I've never been that hasn't worked out. It's more of what have I adapted, right? And how have I made it work? I don't know. It's maybe Maurice might be a good one. Like I'm doing the next issue for Maurice in the Metal at the moment, and I decided to do traditional inks for the previous one for issue 4, and that's because I was feeling like I was being very lazy. I feel like you can't even see the Cintiq that's right here. But I'm touching it, being I feel like I was getting lazy on it. Like I was skipping things and my work was not looking like my work, if that makes sense. And so I decided to go back to doing traditional inks. And that in itself was a big shock to the system too, because I hadn't done sequential inks traditionally for a very long time.
Mm.
And so I was slopping on whiteout, left, right, and center, covering panels up with another bit of Bristol. It was just a mess half the time. And I was getting very frustrated with myself. But I got it done. I've got this mindset, same like Jake Parker. You just kind of have to get it done, and you learn from it and you move forward. So this issue, I was do I do traditional again? I'm not sure. Because I love having pages and people love seeing pages. Some people love to collect them and stuff like that. But in the state that I'm in where I'm so time poor and I don't always have the capacity or the money to be able to pay for paper, which is so expensive. It's ridiculous for Australia. It's no idea why. We've decided to go digital for this one just so we can actually keep the story moving forward because, you don't want to leave too much time in between. So not a failure, more just a hindsight thing that I just want to adapt and make sure that Maurice gets as much success as possible and momentum.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. What project or what artist or creator or creators at the moment are sort of influencing you or inspiring you or pumping you up a little bit to keep going in those times when you need that little bit of extra BB bounce?
Look, BB bounce. I'm liking that BB bounce. I'm not gonna lie. I follow Ink Pulp. Sean Crystal, when he's done with his podcast and with Mateo and Eric and Jim, he's really smashing it out of the park at the moment. And I do touch base with him here and there. And I feel like I've kind of disappeared for a little bit. And I know it's because I'm burnt out. My nervous system's just not having a good time right now. And I'm trying to juggle too many things. And that's because I said yes too much. And I always say yes too much. And so now that I've finally signed off as of yesterday, a job that I've been working on, and that's just sort of been annoying me. Not annoying me, it's a lot of work. I can now I feel a little bit more freer and I feel less bogged down. But those, like the hustle that Sean has in terms of giving back to the community and then also giving back to himself, and it's just created this like little ecosystem, like a creative ecosystem that's just really giving back and and giving back. It's like it's continuous. It's like it just keeps
Mm.
cycling, which takes a lot of time. It's that sort of, it's not so much that's what I want to do. That's the kind of person that I want to be. I want to be someone
Mm.
that will support others in terms of their creative journey, but also have that drive and that inertia just to create and to do things that make sense and not just like cheat the system. Does that make sense? Like I don't
Yeah.
want to just
Yeah.
create just to create. Like I still want to look after myself, and it like I'm in this weird sort of like limbo bubble at the moment where I'm trying to figure that out still. And I'm so grateful to have people that I'm working with that do understand that. You know, I think a lot of people feel like they don't, like they're sort of isolated in terms of, especially in the creative industry, isolated in
Mm.
this, you know, I'm dealing with this by myself. No one else is sort of doing this. I think we're all dealing with it in some form or another. And it's these kind of podcasts that really do allow people to understand that others, you know, they struggle with some things from time to time. And
Yeah.
Rob Duenas, Sketchcraft, sorry, he is a good
Mm.
mentor.
Yeah.
Like I turn to him a lot, and we do share a lot of stuff, like you know, NDA stuff that we can't really share with anybody for like feedback or whatever. But he mentioned something. It was like 2 days ago. I was saying that I was just like I shouldn't have said yes to this thing. And he goes, you know, there's sometimes we just like every 6 months or so you just kind of need a break,
Yeah.
and it makes sense. Like you're just having a break from your job, and we're sort of in the industry where having a break is not, it's not an option, but it is, you know, it's hard to
Mm.
do. It's hard
Mm.
to give yourself the permission to be able to do that.
I think being a creative, whether it's writing or illustrating or anything else, painting, whatever it is, a lot of people see it that it's something that you're doing with your hands, right? But that what they I don't think that they
Mm.
realize is that this is a mental game as well. So
Oh yeah.
there's a lot of sort of that mental preparation that you need to do. There's that angst that's going on inside you to make sure that you deliver the best always, not just for your audience, but also for yourself. I mean, we are our own worst critic, and I think that
Mm-hmm.
advice there that you're saying that you need a break is not just a physical one, but also a mental break as well. With
Probably lean into more the
you've got your
mental side of things for sure.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and I mean, more now than ever, mental health is a discussed topic, and we see that in comics now, and film and TV, and all the rest of it.
Mm.
So I think what you're saying is spot on, and it's a great piece of advice not only to yourself but also to our listeners as well, is to give yourself that break when you need it. Listen to yourself, listen to your body,
Oh
listen to
yeah.
those that are around you. So, with regards to your show, I mean, with Sketch Biz, you've been on Ink Pulp and you've had members of Ink Pulp on your show as well as other
Mm-hmm.
guests. Is there something that when you've been doing your show that's changed how you see your own work?
Not terribly. Maybe more my workflow, I guess. I've got, you know, there's an episode that I need to pop up, which was meant to go out today, but, you know, obviously I ran out of time as usual and capacity. But there's like, I just love seeing how people think about their work and how they react to whether it's criticism or, you know, feedback. It's just like some people have such a, not a hard exterior, but they're just like, like at least I'm creating, right? Like
Mm.
I'm doing what I love and I love doing it. I think more the mentality on that side, not so much my creative side. Like that is something that I will probably develop through time and just through practicing and drawing and, you know, it, but the mentality side that I've had from listening to other people's stories, and also the fact that, again, going circling back to that, is, you know, other people are still feeling it,
Yep.
similar issues, similar stories, and how they had to, you know, work 3 jobs to be able to even afford to be able to focus on doing art. Like it's an industry that is so, like
Yep.
everyone just wants every part of it, but they really, really don't care about the background stuff.
Mm.
And so we're the ones that are, the backbone in terms of we're supporting ourselves to be able to make that work and give you
Mm.
guys this entertainment, these
Yeah.
IPs, these like movies,
Yeah.
like all that stuff. You go see a movie of Spider-Man or whatever, but like, how long did that take someone to stand seriously in terms of,
Yeah.
got a guy in a spider suit, like blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I don't know, like it was the mindset sort of stuff that really helped me feel like I'm not falling behind, if that
Mm.
makes sense. Like you should never compare yourself to other people. You don't know what people go through. You don't know
Mm.
what kind of limitations they have. And like, like I still compare myself without even the background note that I'm a primary carer to a child, right? Who's not even in school yet. So who takes up a lot of my time. And, it's
Yeah.
not her fault. I'm so happy to be her best mate and hanging at home and playing and whatever. But I forget. Like, I just go, I just need to be the same level as them. And I
Mm.
get frustrated with myself. And I need to,
Mm.
just take a little breather and say, like, no, I'm doing my own story. And I just need to be comfortable with that, if
Mm.
that makes sense. Yeah.
No, no, it makes perfect sense. You
Mm.
you mentioned Stan Lee just very, very briefly in that,
Mm.
it's a question that I always love to find out is like if you had the opportunity to collaborate with any other creator, whether they're alive or dead, who would it be and why?
Derek Laufman. I reckon
Hey,
that would be so much fun. That
Canada's
guy has
finest.
like, he's got fire under his bum and he's the nicest dude. Like, good
Yeah,
lord. Or Brett Bean. Brett Bean's
yep.
killing it at the moment.
With Dork.
Like, that's sort of like, yeah, with Dork. Yeah. And
Yeah.
then, like, I love how much fun that their work is, but it's still
Mm.
also them. And they just like keep creating, keep making. And still, it's like the kind of souls, and
Mm.
that's kind of I resonate with a lot of that because I want to, treat everyone well, and like I said, not burn bridges or whatever.
Mm.
But yeah, no, that I reckon that'd be so much fun because their IPs are so much fun. Or like Scotty Young, Scotty Young would be so much fun to be able to work with just for the chaos aspect. But that's why I created Thalissa because I just need a little bit of chaotic blood, gore, mystery.
That's some great company that you would have,
I wish.
and it'd be amazing. I remember Dean Rankin was saying when he worked with Scotty Young that he was a real delight to work for,
Mm,
and a lovely person, and I think that goes a long way. Is not only is your work at a level, but also your attitude and the way that you treat others around you
100%.
should be at that same level. Last question that I have for you, other than anything else
Mm.
that you want to talk about, is
Mhm.
who do you nominate to be a guest on our show?
Ooh. God, there's so many. Isn't like Australia full of the best talent right now? Like I
It
am
really is.
discovering people left, right, and center. It's
Mm.
been such a good time to be able to
Mm.
see so many people thrive.
We
Uh,
had that period too in Australia where I don't know about you, but just sort of prior to COVID and just, sort of that lag afterwards where we really didn't have a lot. There wasn't a lot being
mm,
produced. You looked at your artist alleys in cons, and that it was very quiet and empty, and, there wasn't a lot of headliners. And it seems to
mm.
be now that we've sort of, I would say in the last 2 years, we've really seen a growth spurt, which is
Yeah.
great to see.
Yeah, 100%. Like there is so much talent that is popping up now. Some quiet ones, some not so
Mm.
quiet ones, and I'm saying that in a good
Yeah.
way. It's been really wholesome to see, and I don't see it as competition. No one can
No.
offer what I offer. I can't offer what they offer. People need to stop thinking
Yeah.
like that. It's completely
Yeah.
different. It's a thumbprint. You can't offer the same thumbprint. Look, I am excited to see where Levi Kleeman goes with his graphic novel coming out soon. He's done the work. He's been very quiet in terms of getting those pages done, and it's a chunky one. And he's sort of similar. He's written it and drawn it, and
Mm.
yeah, I think he's going to be one to look out for. And The other person who's been quite helpful for me in terms of like recent works and stuff is Ben Brady. He's been really good, and I love the fact that he does his stuff traditionally with oil painting. And when I talked to him
Gorgeous
on,
work.
and on Sketch Biz, like just talking about his process, it was quite eye opening, and realizing that oil painting isn't even dead in comics, right? Like
Mm,
a lot of people think of oil painting as stanky, but it is
mm,
actually a very, very good medium to work with. So,
yeah.
I'm excited to see what happens over the next couple of years and seeing my peers sort of like flourish within this space. Like, I'm so happy to see people do their best, and the
Mm,
projects that they
yeah.
create because yeah, if they with whatever they create, then I'm going to be more motivated to do my own.
Yeah. Well, not only did you give me one, but you gave me two. So
Yeah,
that's great
sorry.
for us. We look forward to
There's too many I had to like pick
more work
from. I
from
was
you.
trying to be like, who do I
More work
pick?
from
I
you.
don't
That's
know.
fine.
I'm not
No,
playing
that's great.
favorites. I'm
That's
sorry.
fantastic. Two great nominations, and I think they'll be really proud to know that you've nominated them. We're really grateful to have you take out the time. We understand how busy you are, but the work that you're producing is a great ambassador for Australian creatives. And
Thank
please,
you.
everybody, thank Lauren Marshall.
No, thank you guys. Thank you for tuning in and thank you for having me. I can't wait to see what else you guys come up with and who comes on the show to chat the industry and all their happenings. It'd be good.
Thanks, mate. Thanks.
Bye.
Like what you're hearing? Tell your friends. Follow us on socials at Pulp Culture Pod. And if you're feeling generous, drop us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast platform.